Welcome back, guys, to LB's response to episode number 71. Yes, welcome back, guys. This is Tyler from LIFEBrickS Studios, here to bring you episode number 71 of my Q&A series I do on the channel. Basically, every Wednesday, I take about 10 of your guys' questions and to answer them in this series. So, if your question is not answered in today's video, be sure to leave it down below for next week, and I'll more than likely get to it, guys. So, let's get on to the first one. Starting off, guys, with Brick Timmy. He says, at what point in your YouTube career did you think I've made it? So, really, I've yet to really truthfully think that. I feel like, I'm far from where I want to be, in the YouTube space and just kind of my career as a whole. I feel like I'm right on the edge of breaking into greatness kind of thing. Like, I've got everything going for me right now. Everything's on the up and up. Like I said, I've got everything available to me right now to make the big push to get to where I want to be. But I feel like, of course, over the years, I'm very fortunate to say I feel like I've made a good standing in the LIFE community, as in, like, again, I might not have 100,000 subs or 1,000,000 subs, but for what it's worth, I definitely feel like, between just genuine friends and people I talk to all the time in the community, I feel like I do have, like, a name for myself. So I feel like maybe back in 2017, I definitely had the kind of ego side of me thinking, okay, I've made it and stuff like that. But looking back then, truthfully, sure, the numbers were up, but again, it was all just me doing the wrong stuff. And, if I would have actually understood what I had going for me back then, I feel like I would have been able to, really take all that into, 2018 and 2019 and onward for me. But 2017 was kind of like a one and done deal where, again, like my ego got the best of me. I didn't do stuff I wanted to do and how I should have done it. But probably 2017 I thought that, but the current day, when I'm actually more mature and have a couple brain cells, I don't think I've made it yet, but definitely pretty close to that, I'm not gonna lie. But let's move on to the next one, guys. Moving on, guys, to Jawa. He says, a favorite or most interesting building technique you have come across in a Lego set. So I don't really ever pay attention to that too much. I really couldn't tell you a definitive answer right now, but I do gotta say, in the Imperial Star Destroyer I'm building, there's definitely some cool techniques in there. Pretty much how they just kind of are able to get it, where there's plates on both sides. The whole entire underbelly of it is all plated and looking nice. None of it is exposed technique or anything like that. And also a few cool techniques how they get like the bridge area. They use just rods to go down into like technic holes to hold those into place where you can get them on an angle. So that's definitely some stuff that I'm not going to lie, like I wasn't expecting that to be the way that, they were going to connect it and use it. But the Imperial Star Destroyer, the UCS one, definitely has some cool techniques in that set. Moving on, guys, to Zesiel Smolders. He says, how many 501st battle packs should every collector at least have before it retires? So, of course, that varies per collector. Like I said, quite frankly, if you're making, 6 figures a year or, $1,000 a year, or if you're a 13-year-old or a 30-year-old, it all depends on, your financial, status. I'm not going to sit here and say, you should go broke over them, but I truthfully think, this is my honest opinion, if I could give someone, honest advice and, like, say everyone followed it kind of thing, like, I would say, a comfortable probably 5 or so, like, to build, I think would be like a good number. At that point, you have like 20 clones. You're able to kind of make a larger scale mock with those 20 clones. You got some droids. The vehicles are so-so, but part them out for your own collection if you want so. But that's why I'm truthfully waiting for the second those 501st clones go for under $5 each, like $4.99. I'm buying every single one. I don't care what country they're from or anything. If somebody in Germany has 100 of them for $4.99 each, I'm buying them all. Since that's like my break-even price, or like as in like it's worth it to buy the minifigures for myself then, and not just buy the battle packs and go through all the hassle of having the parts. So $4.99 for me is where I'm gonna the barrier to entry on bulk buying the minifigures. But I think like 5 full battle packs, if you really want to go that route, would be nice. And then my honest advice too, this is the investing side of me coming out. I definitely think every collector should hold on to maybe 2 or 3 of them if they do want to make a good profit over time. Like I said, it's gonna be one of those where right off the bat they're not gonna go up skyrocket, since everyone is gonna be keeping them sealed. I've got 20 of them sealed now, and I plan on keeping all 20 sealed long term. I paid an average like $24 each. And I truthfully think, of course, over time, there'll be every bit of like 60 or 70 bucks, but give it a little bit. So I think probably like maybe 5 to open, 5 to keep sealed would be kind of my advice. But yeah, let's move on to the next one. All right, guys, to Alexander Rutten. He says, ask LBS, when do you think the helmet sets will retire? I'm talking about the old ones, by the way. I believe none of them are on the retirement list for this year. So you're good to go for the rest of 2021 if you want to get them for Christmas, or, your birthday's later in the year. So you should be good for that. So I got to say at that point, probably middle of 2022, I'd say, maybe around like July, August of 2022. So yeah, there's that. Moving on, guys, to LIFEBrickS. He says, do you try to build a clone army, or do you just like to have a couple here and there? So back in the day, I had a pretty big clone army. Like back in like 2008, 9, 10, era, like all the way up until like 2013 or 14, I had a pretty big clone army. Every clone I got, I would keep. I never sold them. I was able to buy a whole bunch like with my money, and of course, like my parents would buy me. Some battle packs back then. It was a lot easier to build a clone army back then compared to now. But yeah, so currently now, I think I've got like 200 clones or so. I've definitely sold a whole bunch of them. I sold like 50 of the Kashyyyk troopers I had. I sold all 50 of the ARF troopers I had. I sold off a lot of the shock troopers I had. So I've sold off a lot of them. I sold off a lot of the bomb squad I used to have. Like, if I never sold a clone trooper, I'd probably have about maybe 500 right now, but now I'm down to like 200, a little over. And I don't really try to build a clone army. I'm more so, I want to get to the point where I have like maybe 20 to 30 of every clone trooper ever made, just so, whatever mock comes my way, I have the clone trooper for that mock. But I never really plan on getting any more than, maybe back up to like the 500, clone trooper kind of range. I don't really ever plan on, unless I find like a fantastic deal, I'm probably never going to actually go out of my way to make a huge clone army. But there's that. Moving on, guys, to the Brick Council. He says, you may have talked about this before, but are you in college? If so, how do you find time to do Lego YouTube stuff? If not, what do you do for work? Do you have a dream job / career pursuing? So, yeah, I've talked about this a little bit before, but for all the newer people and the people kind of just curious, I am currently 20 years old right now. I went through the regular elementary school, middle school, high school. I've not ever gone to college yet, and the only actual like retail official job I've had is working at Target for about a year. So, yeah, I'm not in college. I don't plan on going to college. There's really nothing I need to go to college for. At the end of the day, if I really ever had to sit there and pick something for college, I would do maybe like a business class. Maybe just get my smarts up on that. But at the end of the day, like I said, a lot of stuff you learn in college, you can also just learn online. Like I've learned a whole bunch, on the internet, on YouTube over the years, and that's the glory of having the internet nowadays. I mean, like I said, of course you read a lot of bullshit, a lot of fake stuff out there, but at the end of the day, if you really want to learn something, I mean, the internet is free. And, that's where I've really learned all my stuff, honestly, like in high school and stuff. Like I was a, decent student, like maybe like a C average student or something like that. Maybe a couple B, I had a couple B's and A's in there, of course. So yeah, with that in mind, I mean, of course, I've got all the time in the world right now. I still live with my dad. I'm 20 years old. I don't plan on moving out for a couple of years. Like, fortunately, he's not kicking me out like some people, like my stepdad. But yeah, so that's pretty much how I find the time for it. I'm really basically just around chilling like 24 hours out of the day. Again, there's really no requirements. Of course, I hang out with people here and there. I've got a few other plans with family and stuff. Not so much anymore, but definitely, I mean, I've got a few things I got to work around, but other than that, I can pretty much do whatever I want, whenever I want. It's, of course, a nice thing, but I feel like eventually, like I said, I gotta get more into a routine of doing stuff. It's nice to be able to, do stuff at, I'm filming this at 2:30 in the morning, but like at some point, I might want to get it back around to, filming this at 2:30 in the afternoon and kind of get more of a schedule. Whether it is nocturnal or not, I definitely feel like I want to put myself onto a schedule at some point. But yeah, dream job and career I'm pursuing. The Bricklink and YouTube, I mean, pretty much anything online entrepreneur-wise, that's pretty much what I want to do. And I mean, eventually down the line, I've said, I've got some other in-person, business aspirations as well. Exotic car dealership. I've had a few other things I wanted to do, an eventual brick and mortar, real, Lego store, like kind of toy shop and stuff like that. Like all those little other things I want to do. I pretty much just want to be my own manager and my own entrepreneur, throughout my entire life. I feel like that's kind of the motive I have. That's the dream I have, what I want to pursue. And yeah, there's that. Then lastly, guys, moving on to Logan Vespalik, and my apologies if I pronounced your last name wrong, man, but he says, what is a Lego theme that you thought would have performed well but ended up failing? And, actually, I thought about that for the last, 5 minutes or so. I went through pretty much every theme that's ever been made, and there's really not been ever one that I feel like answers your question for that, at least in my opinion. I feel like a lot of themes, like Chima and stuff, like, you can kind of look at that beforehand and say, okay, like, this is not going to be a long-term license or a long-term theme. It lasted like 3 or 4 years, and like that's kind of what you expected out of that. Like I didn't really ever see Chima going for 10 years, but I feel like really the one thing I can say to that, Lego theme wise is for some reason I don't know if they ever end up failing or why Lego doesn't do them as much anymore, but all the original Lego IP themes like Power Miners, Atlantis, World Racers, Agents, like all the type of stuff from honestly 2013 and prior, like 2014, 2015 and prior, that they used to do, and they just don't do that stuff anymore. Like they make some of this virtual reality BS and like some of these other things like Monkey Kid and stuff, but it's like they really don't have that many original IPs under their under their belt anymore, which I don't know why. I mean, I guess they might have failed at the end of the day. I mean, a lot of people liked him. A lot of people continue to like him. My personal opinion, I want to go back and get most of the Power Miner stuff and a lot of that stuff from my childhood. But I guess that's kind of my answer to that. Is I guess just some of those original Lego themes that Lego doesn't do anymore for some reason. I understand not everything can last forever, but the fact we've gotten pretty much nothing comparable to that over the past 5 or 6 years, it is a little weird to me. But yeah, there's my answer to that. So yes, guys, thank you guys all for watching this LBS response to episode number 71. Like I said, I'm now currently bald, so it's going to get a little, getting used to being on camera like this. I'm actually not really too big of a fan of it. I definitely got to get in the gym and lose a little bit of weight, but can't we all? I guess that's kind of my plan. I've been saying that for a couple months, and now more so, I see it more than ever that I've actually got to do that. But nonetheless, guys, thank you guys all for watching. The live stream is tonight. The final ISD building stream is tonight in a couple hours. Definitely stay tuned for that and go ahead and tune in for a little bit. So yeah, I'll see you guys on tomorrow's video and the stream tonight, and next week for another Q&A episode. See you guys then. Bye, guys. Stay safe.